Risk.
I like it.
Risk.
Risk.
You like it because it sounds sort of like frisky. I know why you like it.
It is frisky. And now we are Football's Awesome Studio Game Report with the man, Kyle F. Nash. Hello.
What the hell is going on, EJ Christian? Man, listen, I'll tell you. I'm sure glad we got raked over the coals by all those Titans fans, man. Wow. They showed us the light that this team is really Super Bowl capable. And I'll tell you what, EJ, what they did to the Bengals was really a thing of beauty. I mean, what quality football is when you have a balanced attack like the Titans do, and then they outplayed themselves on defense. It was fantastic. What?
Exactly.
He did what? In that case, suck it, Titans fans. Thank you. No, and listen, I picked the Titans to win because I thought they were a more balanced team, and on paper they were. That's the problem with picking games on Tuesdays, Ernest Christian. You find things out later. Like, for one, yeah, he was cleared and he practiced in contact. He participated in full contact practice. But Derrick Henry, I come to find out, takes the field with, 5 or 6 screws, a plate in his foot, and a plate in his cleat as well. If I had known all that, I would have picked different.
Did he look timid to you, though?
Timid, no. Slower, yes.
Okay.
Derrick Henry don't ever look in MF and timid.
I'm saying injury, like he was trying to be very careful.
FOH. He even tried to stiff arm a dude. It just didn't work.
He's still a scary dude, though. I don't give a shit. He's like the man he is. He's still a scary dude.
But if you're moving slowly, listen, eventually you're going to get swarmed. I mean, that's why running backs have to have speed is so the defense has to work to get to you, right?
Overall, I've asked people on the podcast this, throughout the, this episode, it's easy to get wrapped in hyperbole and spur of the moment and in the moment, and last thing you saw is the best thing you ever saw. But I really having a hard time 2 days later finding a more exciting and better weekend of football than this one we just went through the original weekend.
I would still put, first of all, I think there's a whole lot of victim of the moment stuff going on here.
I agree.
But I really liked week 18 a lot better. But I mean, let's call it what it is. You have a higher or lower success rate and chance when you have only 4 games on the week, and you're guaranteed to have top-ranked teams, and you've managed to weed out teams that don't belong, right? Mm-hmm. So, should this be the best football you see other than possibly the conference championship game? Yes. Since we're at the point in the NFL where both conferences are to some extent top-heavy, obviously much less the AFC, right? Because at the end of the day, most of the better quarterback plays in the AFC, right? That situation where you're going to have a bunch of games that go well and are close to watch, it's going to happen. And I mean, let's not kid ourselves. It's not like the Bengals and Titans was a high-flying, romp circus craziness, but and a couple other things for perspective. The Niner-Packer game was not exciting, but there was a lot of quality trench warfare in it. You have to enjoy that. And then after that, what's that? I did. Yeah, 100%.
Trenches.
I honestly hated the ending to the 49er game. That's not how I want games like that to end. But at the end of the day, of course, I'm going to take it, as would any member of the 49er faithful. But Sunday's games, let's keep the Rams in perspective.
You just sound like Obama right there. Barack Obama. You got faithful?
I faithful, the 49er faithful, and folks.
And Mr. McConnell, doing this, dang it.
We have to keep things realistic here, Ernest Christian. I by the way, I appreciate your service.
Yeah.
With Homeland Security. You've done a great job.
I gave the pause.
I'm glad to see you're no longer squatting there in the van. And I want you to get the bell ready because I'm going to talk about the Huddle Up podcast.
Yes. Good night. 9:00.
Dude, the ex-president just asked for the bell. Where the hell is it?
Oh, sorry. My bad. I'm slacking today. I'm
Now,
apologizing.
EJ, I would ask, what the hell is wrong with you? No, um, but let's keep things in also realistic perspective too. The reason why you had the electric game that you did with Tampa and the Bucks, or excuse me, the Rams and the Bucks, is because the Rams did everything they could to hand that game back. Oh, but the Bucks defense. No. Those fumbles, all of those, were just right stupidity. But there he finally found
No.
it. And we'll
Okay.
talk plenty about Bills and Chiefs. So I'll leave it at that.
Well, yeah. So let's get to what we've been doing. We did this for the midterms. We end of the year with all the non-playoff teams getting letter grades, and then we did last week also with the wild card teams that got eliminated on wild card weekend, and we'll do it again this week with 4 more teams that got eliminated from the divisional weekend. So we're gonna go in order.
Conference Championship Sunday,
Yeah.
CCS.
So let's say sayonara to the 4 teams one last time to the 4 teams that got eliminated on divisional weekend. Oh, divisional weekend rather. And let's start with the Tennessee Titans, who were eliminated by the Cincinnati Bengals.
So as much as Titans fans, listen, when a student comes in, every now and again, they have difficult parents. And that's what the Titans fans were difficult parents for a student. Thought that their student was much more capable of what they really were. But because I did what I did in the preseason and, predicted the AFC South to be won by the Tennessee Titans in August in my article with the 3pointconversion.com, that's the number 3, not the word 3. I expected them to get to where they got. I expected them to possibly have a bye, which they achieved. I didn't think they'd win it. I thought KC would. They didn't. It is what it is. Then they came out, and I'll say this much. No one expected Ryan Tannehill to struggle the way that he did in that game. That was not expected. I don't know what it is. I know that the Titans O-line has been dealing with injuries throughout the year, and while I actually watched the games, I was kind of out of touch with what the injuries were going into that contest when I picked it. But there was definitely some struggles there with Tannehill being under duress. He made mistakes that the only time I saw him make were in Miami.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, I'm leaving out times when he didn't have Derrick Henry in support, so he had to do a lot more. We're in Miami, where he was missing offensive linemen. This is easily probably one of the worst high-pressure performances I've seen Tannehill play. And I know it's popular to throw him under the bus. I know it's popular to comment, well, the Titans are looking for another quarterback. Guys, everyone's always looking for a better quarterback. They just usually can't find it.
Probably because of economics, too, also.
Yeah, and that's definitely a pattern. I'm glad you mentioned that because I know a lot of people, fans in particular, do forget that this is a business. And, money never sleeps and money doesn't care about your feelings.
Correct. So what grade are you giving the Titans end this year?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go with a B-. The reason why I gave that preamble is to explain why I'm not really penalizing them a whole lot. Listen, I'm not going to hold the student accountable for the inexcusable behavior of their parents. Now, I might call the community resource officer and he'll come in and comment about how dumb they looked on the YouTube page.
Yeah.
Thank you, Officer EJ.
Looks so bad. If it's the one guy that sent the thing on there saying, the Bengals, ha, 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 ha. And I responded, yeah, the Bengals.
Ha, 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 ha,
ha. Uh-huh.
But of course, they're all going to rush back any moment now and comment about how right we were and how foolish they were to mock us. Because every Titans fan is a high quality citizen that would come in and be so gracious. Anyways, so I gotta be, what did I say, B-,
yeah.
B+?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did I say, B-? Trying to remember.
B-.
I'll go with that.
Yeah, because I also want to be as well too, and I think also again when you look at these grades, we talk about expectations way in this thing, and then what we went through the year and all that. So we knew the Titans were a playoff team. We knew that's the standard. Okay, we'll make the playoffs, whether or not they would win the South or be a wild card because we didn't know how good the Colts were going to be. Then we saw the Colts injuries early in the year with Wentz and and Quentin Nelson and all that, and we figured, okay, well, Titans have a clear shot to win this thing now, and then they lose Derrick Henry, and we're thinking, okay, well, they're going to fall to face the earth now probably. And which
they did for a bit,
but it sustained themselves and it again to the seed. I know the AFC was a little wonky this year, but Titans did their job for the most part.
Listen, this is why it's great to have a weak schedule. Now, granted, Ryan Tannehill throwing 4 interceptions against the Texans, it took a bit of that advantage away, but it's special when you get to still play them a second time and play the Jags twice. And those games, I think, were the difference in them making the number 1 seed or not. Now, had they come out in the first week, and let's say they had a shot at playing, I don't know, let's say the Steelers. Actually, they might have blown that game. They blew a game against the Steelers before.
Yeah, that's too.
But I think they would have I think they would have progressed past the first round if they actually participated in it. I'll give them that much credit.
Right. I mean, they had some weird losses this year. Texas lost, Jets lost. They had some good wins this year.
They had some wins that you didn't expect either to counteract it.
Right. So, but I think also when you properly grade this team, did they have a good year? Absolutely. But did they fall below expectations based on how they did this year? Yes, because if you're number 1 seed, you should at the very least win your first game out the gate.
No, I can't get behind that. I can't get behind that because one, Cincinnati's playing hot. I think that's unfair. Every team on the AFC side is scared to play the Bengals, right? So let's not go that crazy. I think the other problem is that the expectations held by the fans were too high, right? Why did they get Julio Jones, Ernest Christian? Because they thought that's what they needed to win a shootout with Kansas City, one that never took place, I might add.
Yeah.
So with all that in mind, you thought the offensive line would hold up better. I don't, Titans fans, especially some writers in the 3-point conversion not named Mike Patton, the general, shouts to him, were trying to tell me about how all these improvements they made on defense, and I told them I wasn't impressed, and now you see why. Again, I've never said the Titans are a bad team, but I'm just not a believer in them as a Super Bowl contender at this point.
Either.
And Frank, yeah, the smartest thing too, in them looking for a quarterback more now than ever, though, I don't know how much sustainable Derrick Henry is with this kind of stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, running backs wear down. Everybody remembers Sean Alexander. I don't want to list all the examples, but my favorite two to mention are Sean Alexander, Priest Holmes, and Larry
Johnson.
Larry Johnson. I could think of it as Jones. I knew that wasn't right.
Larry Johnson, not the Charlotte Hornet.
Yeah, not to be confused with Grandmama. Correct.
Exactly. The only reason I even mentioned the Titans being in the conversation of contending is because the AFC was weird this year. It was like a default move.
We've heard your horrible reasoning, and some of us need a lot more than faith.
And I still didn't even pull the trigger on that because I don't trust them.
No, you had them. You may have had them 4th at one point, but you had them 5th, and I've said that's been high throughout the year, and once again proven correct.
Yeah, I lowered them after the end of the year. So, but yeah, B- is where that they had a good year, but they are properly rated the way you and I have them. Okay, this should be fun. This should be probably the highlight of the 4 here. That is the Green Bay Packers who lost to the San Francisco 49ers on Saturday night. And go. Number 1 seed also.
Let me tell you why this is a hard grade to give. Because the Packers situation, many things occurred that you should be perfectly able to punish them for and take points off for.
Yeah.
But be damned if they still didn't perform. Right? Mm-hmm. This was a team that still found a way to be the top seed, right? Despite all the noise. But at the end of the day, it's those little things, those little details not being buttoned up that made the difference, right? I'm looking at you, special teams. I could say all I want about Aaron Rodgers and Mercedes Lewis fumbling. And, let's not forget, weather wasn't exactly stellar. The ish was in Lambeau. It was snowing at times. It's tough to throw in that wind. I don't care if your name's Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, or whoever you are. Okay? You're going to have a little trouble in the air game there. Probably part of the reason why Garoppolo threw a pick. And I thought he would have more than one. He did not. What do I know? But when this is why the special teams blunders are what I'm going to hit so hard in this game in particular.
Mm-hmm.
This is 101 level stuff. EJ, special teams blocking, especially in the interior line, which, by the way, both the block punts and questions came through the middle. It's not like they came off the edge and some, you've seen the kind of play I'm talking about with a block
Right.
where some corner goes and like, it looks like some Matrix stuff, right?
Yeah.
It might have been more fun to watch than the new Matrix movie. I haven't seen the new Matrix movie, but based on what I've heard, I have reason to believe. So I say all that to say, excuse me, if you don't block inside on a special teams play as a big guy in the middle, as one of the hogs, you are in fact doing it wrong. And I don't mean just, oh, you got beat. I mean high schoolers get taught that. College players see that fundamental. In the semi-pro, I was taught and told that every time by every special teams coach, whether I already knew it or not, that's what they preach. You go to church, what's one thing you're going to hear from? The Bible. Everybody knows it, even if you're not baptized. And yet, the devil still came to Lambeau. The devil went down to Lambeau. He was looking for a score to steal, okay?
Yeah.
Charlie Daniels for the win, bitch. But I think I mentioned all of that to mention that the moment that's the reason for their playoff loss, they're lower than A. The expectations for them was at least championship game, and in some cases, many were predicting a rematch of said NFC championship game between Aaron Rodgers and Tampa. Now, even though I picked the Packers this past weekend, I told you 2 weeks ago why that wouldn't happen, and even against my own faith and my own oracle, it still happened. But
I'm with you. The only game that hit on this weekend, actually.
Yeah. So I'm in that place where I can't give them an A, but I don't think they deserve less than a C either. So I'm going to go to my go-to here in these kind of situations. I'm going to give them a B minus. They could have done so much better with when they have, and the way they lost. It's not like this. If they had lost more like one of the Sunday games, I'd have given them a solid B plus. But no, they're down to B minus, and I can see plenty of defense for giving them a C.
So this was hard for me because again, we look back to how we started the year. A lot of people were soft, though, because the drama with Aaron Rodgers and whatnot. I know might throw it out a second, but a lot of the drama.
And let's not forget the Week 1 game too. While you're on that topic, right?
Then you have the Week 1 game that happens, and they lose to New Orleans.
The Saints, right?
Right, and then they go on 7-8 straight games, and whatever. Rodgers has the COVID thing, of course. But at the end of the day, to me, it was always with Aaron Rodgers, especially. This was always about championship or bust, or championship. At least get
conference championship or bust.
Right? I was for saying he had, to me, given all the drama that went around Aaron Rodgers this offseason, and it's still a really good team.
Yep.
You had to at least get to the Super Bowl to be satisfactory, in my opinion, based on the expectation. Now, look, again, it's tough because coming to the year, we all thought, I don't know, maybe it could be the year Green Bay falls apart because the drama on this and that. So I had to go C minus.
Yeah, and that's fair. You make a great point that Rodgers is out of excuses, but even though he's the quarterback and all that, it's hard for me to grade so hard on a single player because, listen, the Packers had a run game for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
So like that's something that I enjoyed watching. Their defense was okay. They did a great job. You got enough from them to prevent an offensive touchdown from deciding the contest, right?
If you told me San Francisco had a more balanced game and won that game, I can say, okay, fine, I'll live with it because I was, you and I, you more so than me early on, were saying that this is a bad matchup and it played out such.
Mm-hmm.
But we're watching this game together, not together, but we're texting each other in the game.
Yeah.
And it's 7-0 Green Bay for most of the game. You're saying this game's still over because San Fran has no offense whatsoever, nothing.
And I'm still waiting for Garoppolo's second turnover, which never came.
So Aaron Rodgers just needed to make one more play, and that game was over. And the fact that it's not the fact they lost the game, Cal, that really teed me off by the Packers. It's the way they lost. It wasn't that Stanford outplayed them. The defense, obviously, defense played fantastic, and you get all the credit in the world for that. But you give me one more touchdown, game's over.
I can't. I mean, and the perfect response to the response I'm going to give is, well, he's an MVP, and I expect that. But that's a philosophy thing. For me, it's still a team game, and I have to tell you, EJ, just this, if with all that's going on, you got Garoppolo at a fraction of a percent, with or excuse me, at a fraction, sorry, at a lower percentage than 100, we'll say, for his shoulder, okay, and you're getting in and disrupting that backfield, and you couldn't get any more turnovers. I could say that very simply about the defense too. And by the way, you know, they did do enough to make it so both Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel are going to be impacted in the next game. So, I mean, there's that in their favor too. But like, let's remember, there's at least a couple more turnovers out there that they should have gotten. Mm-hmm. I feel like that they didn't.
Yeah. Again, you score. To me, I knew they were in trouble when it was what I think the score was what at the time it was either 7-3. They were moving the ball in late third quarter, early fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. And Aaron Rodgers had a chance to put the game, pretty much in my opinion, based on the play played out, put the game away. Just couldn't do it. And to me, it was like, ooh, well. This is why I kept telling in text that this game's not over, because the thing is that even though they're playing so bad, because the game is in reach, they can still commit to the run. They can still, and you have to account for anomalies. The anomaly came to pass, being the block punt. It put it in play. So Green made it into his job, and you're number one seed. And we've been praising you all year long as number one seed most of the year. We've been praising you as the number one.
No, that's true. That's true.
Too. So if I'm going to grade you high as saying that you are the contenders, when you let me down on the first rip of the playoffs, I gotta grade you harshly.
Yeah, no, like I said, if you said C, I got no beef.
I can C minus.
Okay, I'm down.
All right, next
like
team.
Between our two grades, they average a C. I'm good with that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next team here. We go to Sunday games. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who lost to the LA Rams. What a game, huh? Jeez.
It was only close because the Rams did everything they could to give it back. Brady had all sorts of luck handed to him again, and unfortunately, Matt Stafford given the opportunity to shine. See what happens when he's not stuck in Detroit? We've been telling you, ladies and gentlemen.
Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it. Tell the folks. I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't.
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
Yes. Look, I'm not gonna say Brady was the reason they came back in that game. I'm with you.
Yeah.
But when you give Brady chances, he will.
When you give Brady chances, when he has Pro Bowl caliber players at every level, the name doesn't have to be Brady. Brady could have done it. Stafford could have done it. Patrick LeVon Mahomes the second. Aaron Charlet Rodgers. I don't know. Any quarterback not named Tannehill could probably have done it. And I'm including Jimmy Garoppolo because he has, right? So, again, this roster is amazing. What I don't understand exactly is what happened to the Rams defense to where they started getting gashed at the end. I kind of feel like this, they kind of suffered from, Spectacle Sunday there and got all nervous.
Yeah,
and see also what happened, ironically, against Brady to the Jags in, what was it, 2008 in the championship, conference championship game playing Brady.
It was 18, yeah.
So, but again, masterful field goal setup by Stafford. I would have thought that would have been the play of the playoffs until. But getting back to grading the Bucs, I mean, obviously it's incredibly hard to grade harshly on these cats, right? I mean, they literally, they are a walking boot on Tristan Wirfs away from winning this game. Let's call that what it is, ladies and gentlemen. All right?
Absolutely.
There's a reason why you and I picked this game this way. You were about to pick your boy Brady. You were setting up a lunch date already to tell him how great he was until I said to you, hey, O-line injuries. And you're like, oh.
Once I had the O-line, and then we saw Monday night against the Cardinals with Von Miller and Aaron Donald's going fucking ape shit.
Yeah, Von Miller impressed me too.
Yeah.
That's a good point by
The
you.
Rams are back. The Rams are back. That's, I kept telling you, they're back.
You and your so and so's are back stuff.
Yeah, they're back. No, but
I don't know that the Rams ever really arrived.
So
Can we have that conversation?
So the Bucks already entered the playoffs actually hurt anyway.
Correct.
Then you add injuries after coming out the Eagles win.
Yep.
They were dead men walking anyway. So the fact this game being close, to be honest with you, was actually kind of, it's a credit to the Bucks' heart.
And just asinine for the Rams with all that they gave away. Now, granted, the first Cam Akers fumble was kind of freaked out. Personally, I didn't like them overturning it, but by the same token, they felt like they had enough video evidence. I thought it was too close and that they should have gone with what was on the field, but I ain't mad at it.
On the goal line, right? Near the goal line?
Yeah. And by the way, that touchdown puts the game away even further. We're not even having this conversation.
At that point, it's 27-3 going into the half.
Correct.
Getting the ball first.
Yeah.
Which they actually scored again in the second half.
I mean, the Falcons didn't even have that big a lead, did they? Anyways. No. Shouts Danny Thompson.
Hi, Danny.
Anyway, they're so awful.
It's okay. It's allowed.
Oh, totally. The fraud cons, man. Let me tell you. The only team more fraudulent than them now is apparently the Titans.
Ooh.
Anyways, no, but listen. You were ready to give him the middle name treatment. I'm not yet, but if he wins the Super Bowl, we'll talk. He definitely has to get through San Fran, because if he gets swept by the Niners,
it's bad.
That's really bad. But yes, for the Bucks, for all that they accomplished, they have the longest string of games of everybody with playoffs and all this other stuff and Super Bowl and potential repeat and blah, 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 blah. Very easily. I'm going to give him an A-. You know what?
Wow, nice.
It's with all the, because here's the main reason why. What gives it a little spice to put it into the A range for me is that that AB drama could have derailed any other team.
Right.
But Thomas Edward Bieber Brady did his part more than anything else there. I don't care so much, like, people want to talk about he's got all these numbers. Yeah, great. He also has arguably the best offensive roster. Even unhealthy, one of the best offensive rosters in the NFL and one of the best defenses in support. But what he did, granted, it was mired in BS. I didn't buy a lot of the stuff he was trying to sell me, but it worked to keep the team moving forward, and that's all he was really caring about and trying to do.
Yeah, I went a little less than you, but I had the same idea. B+ for the Bucks.
Sure.
Like I said, Super Bowl bust, obviously, but whatever. But I do think if they were fully healthy, they win this game with the Rams. And we have a conversation probably about them being San Francisco the week after. So, to me,
I can't go that far, but it would be interesting to see.
I'm saying, to me, it's the injuries. To me, it's just the injuries.
It's definitely a big part, yeah.
I mean, if they're healthy, I think they beat the Rams. I'm picking them to beat the Rams because they are on paper a better team on paper than the Rams are.
I think the reason why that isn't necessarily correct is because the reason why the mistakes came is because the Rams started drinking the Kool-Aid and they were feeling themselves and yeah, ding dong, the witch is dead, mother beep.
No, what's worth noting though, they've now beat them twice this year though.
Correct. Yes, that's a great point. I forgot it was a second contest. So all the more. Like, especially, like, bro, Brady does not lose to teams twice in a year. That's typically a thing that does not happen.
Well, that's the Saints.
Right. Again, it happens, but not a lot.
Shit. That's just weird shit.
Yeah, I'm still trying to calculate that, but there's a reason why the defensive coordinator is a candidate to get a job somewhere. I'm not saying he should get it. I'm just saying there's a reason he's a candidate.
Right.
So
we're going to coach in a second, but yeah, give him a B. So I guess we could touch on that now if we want to. Tom Brady's future, real quick, before we go to the next team. We probably should touch on the Aaron Rodgers thing too. Also, I guess we could talk about it.
Aaron Rodgers thing is not newsworthy at all. He said the way he said it and what he said is no different than anything he said this time last year, and everybody lost their goddamn minds.
I am not rebuilding.
That's the one difference. The not where I don't want to rebuild thing is the only difference.
We got some breaking news here, buddy. Sean Payton's leaving the Saints.
Oh wow.
It's funny because I had this on the dock of topics. Sean Payton's future.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about it after this next team. We'll go to Sean. We'll wrap around the Sean Payton thing in a second.
Sure.
Because we're on the dock anyway. But now it's actually more. There's more fluid information now. But yes, leaving the Saints. He's stepping away. Which means I'm McCarthy. Who knows?
Yeah,
Just saying. Last team here, that is the Buffalo Bills, who lost miraculous win to the Chiefs. Oh wow, what a game! Bills lost to the Chiefs.
the Bills definitely get an A. I can dance around it all I want. I know they had moments where they faltered, but overall, they get an A. They're not going to get an A plus, obviously, because again, those moments where they faltered. If they had beaten the Jags, for example, in a game they should have won, they might have gotten an A plus, because losing to Patrick Mahomes II, nobody should lose points for that. But and by the way, all the people griping about the NFL overtime. Let's distinguish two different sides of the argument. Okay, if you say to somebody, "Hey, in overtime, do you think both sides should get a possession?" 100% of people will say yes. The only ones who won't will be either Kansas City fans or what people like myself who are sick of people insinuating that the Bills were robbed. They weren't. Not unless you think the larceny in question was committed by Patrick Mahomes II in getting into field goal range with 13 seconds left in the damn game, starting on his own 25. If you're going to put that on the overtime rules, you're wrong. You're a special form of wrong. And really, I wonder why you watch football at all.
Wrong.
Or
where am I at? Hold on, I got a similar.
In the words of Dr. Percival Cox, wrong, 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 wrong.
I got you.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Now, that being said, how do you feel about the rule, though?
The rule obviously sucks. I led with that. You buried the lead, EJ Christian. Of course, both sides should get possession. Yeah, absolutely. I know why they're not doing it, right? Because at some point the advertisers are involved and they're going to feel like they get screwed. It is what it is. In a perfect world, the NFL, from a business standpoint and only a business standpoint, want their games to end in time with their 3-hour blocks so that everybody in the advertisers is happy and nobody's worried about the money. Right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, listen, football games are already 3.5 hours long, for Christ's sake. I mean, work with me here.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you gave him an A, right?
Yes, I did.
I gave him a B. Only because I'm looking
because of Jacksonville. No.
Well, I mean, it's part of the equation.
I know.
I wanted to see a more dominant Buffalo Bills team. I had them going to the championship game this year. I had them winning 13-ish games this year as well too. Now, obviously, they ended well, great, but there was a time. But Kyle, there was a time that the Bills were going to get the playoffs because we had confidence in Josh Allen, but they were 7-6. They lost some couple weird games, Jaguars game, of course, too, and some other games in there. And there was some literally we didn't know there's a possibility they missed the playoffs altogether. And remember that whole kerfuffle. So
what was their midterm grade? We didn't do midterm grades we did. I forget what their midterm grade was. But it sure wasn't an A.
We always do midterm grades. Count ass during the game. We always do midterm grades. Always.
Right. But yeah. No, I forgot for a second. Chill out, man.
No, that's all right.
I got. Listen, I'm coming down from covering 4 sports this year, including my work with the Black and Gold Banneret.
I actually think we graded them low actually in midterms because
we absolutely did.
I can't remember exactly where you were at coming into the year. I had high hopes for the Bills going into the year. And at that time, they were still, I think, 5-3, somewhere in there. They were kind of like, they started off great, but then they're winning games against shit teams, and then there's good teams, they play like crap. And we were still kind of like, what's going on? Is this team back to earth a little bit? So the fact they got back to the B, because of the strong showing at the end, and almost beating Kansas City, helped them, their grade go up again.
For all intents and purposes, beating literally any other quarterback in the National Football League not named Patrick Mahomes II. Let's call that what it is. No other of the 30 remaining teams, because obviously, I mean, the Bills can beat themselves apparently. Hi-yo! No, but no other squad could have pulled that off. None.
No. But yeah, Josh Allen's arrived though. I mean, if we have doubts on Josh Allen before this, I mean, he was fantastic, especially down the stretch. Not just on Sunday, but down the stretch.
He is in that odd place where Russell Carrington Wilson was a number of years back when I was calling him good but overrated. That's exactly where Josh Allen is right now.
Yeah.
Because people are saying top 5, and I'm like, GTFOH. Okay, no.
Yeah. All right. We just touched on that a little while ago. Breaking news: Sean Payton. It's funny. I had this on the doc because there was rumors about Sean Payton in his future, and it's in the air, maybe whatever. Sean Payton is leaving the New Orleans Saints. That just broke, literally 5 minutes ago. As we recorded this podcast. All I can say to me personally, all I can say is this: By McCarthy, by Mike McCarthy. All I can say, because I think that is Jerry Jones' wet dream to get that guy under his staff.
I'm not so sure. I don't believe he fits the Cowboy brand. Now, let me be clear. It'd be a very smart move for the Cowboys, right? It would be, if anybody's going to develop Dakota Prescott, it's certainly going to be Sean Payton, unquestionably. There are certain things that do fit. You know, I can see him making sense taking the job, other than the fact that I don't think he's a yes man type of guy. I just don't.
Right.
You know, I think he makes sense if the Bears go after him. But I don't know that cap hell is something any coach of any clout would walk into. I think he would make a lot of sense in Jacksonville. I think they have fewer problems. They just have an owner who doesn't know any better. But I don't think Trent Baalke is smart enough to make this hire, right? So it's going to be fascinating for sure. But I think he makes sense for the Raiders as well while we're on the conversation. So, you know, especially Derek Carr and that group high flying against a division that, relatively speaking, is defensively weak. Let's go, you know.
Well, I mean,
actually, the more I think about it, the more I like Vegas.
I mean, it could be in play, but I'll tell you what, like, to me, and we've heard of this for years, not just like the last year or two. Like, I go back as far as 2016. We've heard, like, well, Sean Payton goes to Dallas. I mean, he has connections there. Jerry loves him, you know. But, you know, but of course, you know, they work things out and stay the course. But, you know, what if? And now we're in a situation now where Mike McCarthy, and I said too last week on the podcast, you know, I'm not advocating for McCarthy's firing in Dallas. I'm not saying he is the problem, but it would not shock me.
But would it be an upgrade? Yeah.
Someone says goodbye, and then it may take something like this on the table where it exacerbates the situation.
Or even Mike McCarthy's like, yeah, I get it. You know.
Yeah. So that's why my first thoughts is okay. Yeah. Mike McCarthy.
Well, and you're a Cowboys fan too, so that also is part of the situation.
Oh, I mean, come on now, come on. I'd be interested to see what Big Jim says tonight on the whole podcast about all that. Honestly,
he's not as big a Cowboys fan as you, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
That is a disgusting act. That's for the record. I don't have that.
Joe Buck yourself.
Did we touch on Brady already? No.
We did. Oh no, we didn't. We started to. Brady's a crapshoot too, man. Every year, like what he's saying now, and people are apparently paying more attention to, is something that I feel like's been the case for the past 2 years. He's weighing his options. He's actually even saying now, like, we're not hearing in rumors that Gisele's griping at him for getting hit so much. Like, he's even saying now, Gisele doesn't like me getting hit, you know, so I have to listen to that. I want to be a good dad to my kids, all this other stuff. I believe every word of what he's putting out there. But I also think he's addicted. Nate Burleson put it best on the CBS show after the playoff game. Tom Brady is addicted to doing this stuff, which isn't a surprise. He's been doing it for how many decades again? You know, so
he's driven too. On top of that, he's
Say again?
diabolically driven. He's diabolically driven. In my opinion, that's why I respect the guy.
Yeah, he's certainly driven. Nobody would argue with that. I think the only way we would know for a fact he's returning is if he won the Super Bowl, because if he wins, he's like, why would I stop? And he'd be right. But here, if Brady doesn't, here's my tinfoil hat theory. You ready? If Brady doesn't retire, you blame the Los Angeles Rams.
Okay.
Because they made that game get close. If Cam Akers is up 27-3 and they continue to pound them to the point where it was a 20-plus deficit at the end of the game, like they were set up to do, Brady retires. Guaranteed. There's no way we can find out without any sort of special device from the Rick and Morty show or something, but.
Well, the tweet the message he put on his podcast, the message was actually very cryptic. Obviously, well, it's not cryptic. It's actually just something.
It was honest. It was wholesome.
Yeah, it's wholesome because it's about his family. Because I think we all know he wants to play another year or another 2, 3, 4, whatever, how long he's going to play.
He said 45 at one point.
And I tweeted yesterday too. I think ultimately he does come for at least one more year.
Yeah.
But I do think this is the first time he's really considering the option.
I don't agree with that. I think he considered retiring when he was doing the free agency stuff.
Right.
And then the things went the way they did in Tampa. But don't tell me retirement wasn't on the damn board. Don't be stupid. Like, no way. He was definitely thinking about it. I would also argue going into the previous season, he was at least thinking about it. Now, I would put the percentage at like 20 or 30% tops. But as far as last year with going free agent versus, if it was like retirement versus returning, he would retire first.
Right.
Free agency versus returning, that at point, it was 50-50. And Tampa won, No one saw Tampa coming, buddy. You know this, man. And you know this, man.
Thank you, Chris Tucker. We also have some news and notes on coaching finalists on certain teams. The Bears and the Broncos are narrowed their search down to three guys. There's a report about the Bears right now coming in that Jim Caldwell is actually a leader to be getting that job, possibly.
For the Bears, you said?
For the Bears, yes.
Okay.
Dan Quinn is a finalist of both the jobs. I already said last week I think Dan Quinn's going to go to Denver. That's my personal opinion. We've heard Byron Leftwich is now getting a second interview today with the Jaguars. You covered the Jaguars, obviously. Which,
as wrong as I apparently am with my conspiracy theory, let me be clear. As I laid down said conspiracy theory, what have I always said, EJ? Love the hire in Jacksonville. Love the hire in Jacksonville. And I love the hire in Jacksonville.
Yeah. So where do you I guess predictions? What do you see?
Well, here's the statement I'm going to make up front. Dan Quinn, the only job he should be considered for that's remaining that's not Jacksonville is Vegas. Any team that's defensively strong now and needs offensive help has no business going to this guy.
Right.
Because it's not what they need. That is not a slight on Dan Quinn. I'm telling you, I don't think that's a fit.
Okay.
Caldwell.
If it happens, of course.
In Chicago. Go in. Right? Because what he was replaced with, if I remember correctly, was Jim Schwartz to bring in some defensive toughness, which for a short time he did. Granted, didn't do very much against the 49ers, am I right?
Damn.
That was a shake down for those who get that Harbaugh versus Schwartz joke.
I see what you did there.
Very good, Mr. Very good, Mr. Tyson. No, but I like, and also I make the jokes that are about the Lions because that's 2 games a year he's guaranteed to effing win now. You know what I'm saying? Is against his former team. And damn it, I just think he's the right temperament for a situation like what's going on in Chicago to fix it.
Right. Okay.
Now, if you want to talk to me about Actually, you know where Dan Quinn might also make sense in New Orleans, though I would argue they're in offensive need more than defensive need right now. Actually, you know what? Scratch it. I changed my mind. That offense isn't half of what it used to be. I'm used to what was going on in the past. Dan Quinn is not a fit there. What I would like to see is everybody talks about Eric Bieniemy, and I really believe he's hanging out to replace, possibly to replace Andy Reid, which, I mean, as long as they're making it to Super Bowls, he's not going anywhere. But I really like the concept of an Eric Bieniemy in New Orleans. That is a team that's a fit. Okay. And if the Saints don't hire him, they are precisely as dumb as we thought. You want to go out there and, tear up Drew Brees and, put him in a situation where people memeing him in a Klan hood. Cool. All right. Put your money where your mouth is now and go get Bieniemy. Because not only is he a fit, you can actually be consistent for once. I said it.
You did say it. All right, before we get to go, quick predictions to the weekend. This is the first game. Chiefs Bengals, go.
Well, listen, this was easily your best ranking so far of the year. Granted, it was also the fewest teams to rank. You still blew it because the Chiefs aren't number one. The Rams are. However,
I almost pulled the trigger.
Stop it, Chiefs fan. I don't care.
Had the Rams not blown that lead,
the Colts are eliminated. I want to hear a damn thing about horseshoes from you. Okay.
Damn. Okay.
That was a hell of a dunk. You like that?
Rude.
Close is only in horseshoes and hand grenades, and I dropped a bomb on you using a horseshoe joke. Like, they're so meta. You get just sit down, EJ Christian. Let me finish this segment for you. Anyways, see, that's where you put. You need to leave.
Disrespectful, stupid idiot.
I'll go with it. This weekend, listen, man, you see me get the hat and the shirt and all that. I'm not picking the Niners. Only a fool would. You expect to beat them a third time. That's tough for any team to do when you're full strength. Trent Williams is banged up. Deebo Samuel is banged up. And Jimmy's throwing with a bad shoulder. They're going to lose this football game. Bottom line. The other one, a bit more intriguing, to say the least.
Yes.
That being said, intrigue's adorable, but I talked about balance last week as the reason why the Bengals will lose a football game. Patrick Mahomes II is not throwing 3 interceptions, and the Chiefs have even more balance than the Titans do. If I'm wrong and Joe Burrow makes it to the Super Bowl, I'm cheering for him all the same. But at the end of the day, I have the Chiefs, and for some reason, Jim apparently has a problem with greatness. We'll talk about that on the Huddle Up podcast.
I can't wait for tonight's show. I cannot wait.
There's there's been some objectively awful takes from Big Jim of late, and
some takes have been a little. Okay, we got to talk about this a little bit. Let's pull you aside.
If I'm going to put your feet to the fire, I have to be fair, EJ Christian.
Yeah, exactly. All right, plug away, buddy.
My friend, always good to be here because football is awesome. I am Kyle Nash, the game. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG. You can find me on Instagram as the same, the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the Student of the Game. Check out my writings with the Black and Gold banner ad as I cover UCF football and basketball. And of course, my writings with the 3pointconversion.com. Coming up here real soon, leading into the Super Bowl, you will see the 3-point conversion descend upon Media Row and Media Day in Los Angeles leading up to the Super Bowl. And I will be a part of that. Look out for that too as well. And my work with Demosthenes Euclid of the Hilarity by Default YouTube channel. Hey, Demos is telling me he's looking for the right podcasting service, so you won't have to be stuck with video, EJ.
So it's just Anchor. It's free.
That's an argument you need to have with Demosthenes Euclid, sir.
Just tell him Anchor it's free.
Demosthenes Euclid. Anyways, you did that just so I'd say his name again.
Yeah.
And of course, until next time, everyone, great time all the way around. Honor, joy, and privilege, but class dismissed.